Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Candy Hernandez. I'm the Managing Director of ASEAN PR Network. It is a pleasure for me to be facilitating today's highlight and final event for Global Education and Training Month 2021 web conference on the topic Education as one of the hardest hit sector during pandemic. In this wonderful afternoon, I would like to say welcome to our honorable speakers. First, we have Ibu Prita Kemalgani, MBA MCIPR APR, President of ASEAN PR Network, Chair of Global Alliance Asia Pacific Regional Council, and Head of this year's Global Alliance Education and Training Month. We also have Mr. Justin Green, President of Global Alliance, Mr. Herbert Ang, President Director, PT Acer Indonesia, Prof. Marco Polo, Associate Professor at the Communication and Journalism Department and Director for University Advancement at De La Salle University, Dasmariñas. May kababayan, magandang tanghali. Ms. Marina Kozak, Deputy Vice Rector at HSE University, Russia. In this beautiful afternoon, I would like to welcome also all our participants for today from our member association from all over the region to our lecturers, of course, also our students from LSPR. ASEAN Public Relations Network, in collaboration with Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management, has staged and successfully organized the second Global Alliance Education and Training Month. Continuing education and training in public relations and communications are the basis for professionals to enhance and strengthen our personal communication capabilities. That's why the Global Alliance and APRN has dedicated April 2021 as the Global Alliance Education and Training Month. I would like to congratulate Mrs. Prita Kemalgani, MBA MCIPR APR, as the Chair of Asia Pacific for Regional of Global Alliance, for she has successfully executed and led the Global Education and Training Month campaign for this year. As part of the campaign, APRN has prepared various contents such as video on demands, webinars, and conferences from our pool of experts, speakers from all over the world. Every Friday, APRN has held live webinar sessions from our speakers. They marks the highlight and closing ceremony of the Global Alliance Education and Training Month 2021. Therefore, I would like to encourage everyone to sit back and be ready for this very special closing event. To make this afternoon even more exciting, before we start the session, let's watch the lovely online performance of the song Circle of Life from LSPR Choir.
Natsigonya mawakiti baba Natsigonya mabakiti baba
be seen, more to do than can never be done.
It's far too much to take it here, more to find than can ever be found.
But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round.
so much, LSPR Choir, for the wonderful rendition of Circle of Life. As we move along in the opening session of this web conference, I would like to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Mr. Justin Green, President of Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management, the confederation that represents over 160,000 practitioners and academics around the world. He is Global Ambassador for African Public Relations Association and Public Relations Society of Kenya and was awarded honorary fellowship for both organizations. He received a special award for his outstanding contribution to the industry at the World PR Forum in 2015. In 2016, the Irish PR industry awarded Mr. Green a Life Fellowship, the highest honor within the industry, in recognition of a significant contribution to the profession. He also received an Outstanding Contribution Award to the live entertainment industry, an honor recognized by the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins. Among some of the global superstars, Justin has worked with Eminem, U2, David Bowie, Rolling Stones, Beyonce, Coldplay, Madonna, Jay-Z, One Direction, and Rihanna. A director of a Wide Awake Communication, an independent communication company, Justin has also forged close links and advised national bodies such as law enforcement and agencies supporting government agencies and charities. So without any further delay, I would like to welcome our Mr. President, Mr. Justin Green, for his keynote speech. Mr. President, the screen is yours.
Hello, I'm Justin Green, President of Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management, representing over 300,000 practitioners and academics across 126 countries worldwide. Today, Global Alliance is a global, diverse, and multicultural organization, representing professionals across all religions, cultures, societies, races, abilities, and sexual orientation. Now, our mission at Global Alliance is to unify the public relations profession, raise professional standards, share knowledge, and be the global voice for public relations in the public interest. So today, I want to welcome all of you to the final session in our dedicated Education and Training Month as part of our continuing support of the profession worldwide during the COVID pandemic. Continuing education and training plays a vital role in the services offered by our members. That is why Global Alliance has invited all our members worldwide to join in with their own initiatives. With this session today, I am delighted to announce that we have delivered over 100 free expert sessions with over 25,000 people participating from across Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, India, the Middle East, Latin America, North America, China, and Russia. Now, due to the amazing reaction and demand, we will continue to host all presentations on demand throughout the month of May on the Global Alliance website. Now, all of this could only be done by one lady, and only she could make that happen. And that is Ms. Ibu Prita. Together with the Asian Pacific Regional Council, ASEAN, and her hardworking team of Candy and Ines at LSPR College, I want to say a huge thank you, not just from me, but from the thousands of people around the world who have all benefited from this free educational and training support at a time when it has been so much needed. Most importantly, I want to thank all the presenters, members, and non-member organizations who have supplied many presentations devoting many hours of their free time to support the profession. So thank you. Now back to Ms. Ibu Preta. As you kindly opened the first session of Global Alliance Education and Training Month, we would be deeply honoured if you would bring to a close the final session. So from here in Dublin, Ireland, I want to say thank you and please stay safe.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Justin, and congratulations to you as well for the success of the Global Alliance Education and Training Month and for your very incisive keynote speech. Without any further delay, moving on to our main session for this beautiful afternoon, please allow me to introduce our very cool moderator for today, Mr. Ermil Tabrani, MSE, who is here with us live at our TV studio. But before I give the screen to Pa Ermil, I would like to share his very inspiring short bio. Since 2006, Mr. Ermil has been advising several ministries, private sectors, SOEs, and high-ranking officials in communications, media, events, and capacity building programs. He has taught on various communications, public relations, brand, and branding disciplines. He earned his degree from the University of Maryland and Masters of Arts degree in Communication from the London School of Public Relations, Jakarta. His professional career began at Hyatt's Hotel, Indonesia, then moved to J.W. Thomson Advertising Agency in the early 80s. He has been in diplomatic community when he was first appointed as the private secretary to the Indonesian ambassador to Belgium in 1986. And later to Indonesian representative for European Community in 1991. After spending 7 years at British American Tobacco, he was appointed as an executive director for APEC, Business Advisory Council, and remained in the position until 2004. During his ABAC years, he established his own public relations and event management company in 2000. And co-founded a brand and business company in 2007. Today, he will also give his views to wrap up all our previous webinars here at Global Alliance Education and Training Month. I would like also to inform all participants later, if you have any questions to our honorable speakers, please do kindly type your questions in the chat box. And for those who will ask questions, we'll be giving away APRN merchandise. Without any more further delays, I would like to hand over the screen to our moderator, Pa Ermil Tabrani. Go ahead, Pa.
Greetings. Thank you, Candy, for that remarkable and lovely introduction of my profile, which is actually quite long. Well, before I start this session and give it to the speakers, I'd like to wrap up the key takeouts of the 3 webinars that we've done this month. We conducted every Friday. We've covered and discussed tourism and hospitality. We've covered the role of information and communication technology. And last Friday, we talked about investment and finance. All of those topics were within the framework of rescue, remedy, and recovery from the pandemic. Now, this is very interesting because this is the pinnacle of our webinars, weekly webinars. This is a web conference. So before I start and handing it to the speakers, we're very much in time here. I would like to share with you some of the quotes that it's quite a popular ones. I'm sure you know Darwin quotes that it is not the fittest who actually survive. It is those who are very adaptive to change. And this pandemic is just part of those changes. And although it is abruptly taking place, but it is something that we all human beings have gone through in the human history. We call it in the business term or in the educational term, the industrial revolutions. Now, changes require some adaptations. And in short, if we don't change the way we do business, then we will be out of business. Okay. Now, education is one of the hardest hit sector during this pandemic. But then again, education is key to help create and educate people for adopting a certain paradigm that is suitable and key to undertake changes. So in short, I think this is not just a wake-up call for all of us, especially as educators, but I think the questions that we need to also address, obviously, because we are educators, is that are we driving change, or driven by it? And supposedly education does help create new paradigms, discovery, findings, and all that. And that certainly is our first call of duty, to drive change, not be driven by it. Now, I'd like to take some quotes from Thomas Stanley. He is an American writer and business theorist, and he has published some of the award-winning books in America's Wealthy, the wealthiest people in the US, including New York Times bestsellers. It's called The Millionaires Next Door and The Millionaires' Minds. Now, his research found that from 100 factors that are key to successful people, or in this case, affluent people or wealthy people, apparently ranking and GPA and all that numbered in 30th, Even the Boy Scout organization ranked in 10th. Now, surprisingly, rank 1 is honesty, rank 2 is us, communication. So successful people must have these traits in order to be successful, which is communication. Now, we're all in it, Some of us are lecturers, some of us are professionals, some of us are, have our agencies and all that, and most of us are academics, and these are the professions that we all masters. We are in cooperation with ASEAN PR Network. We're talking with the General Alliance. They're all communication management specialists. So we're proud, to be part of this research that is undertaken by Thomas Stanley. That he's saying that the trait number 2 of a successful factor of wealthy people or successful people is communication. I suppose that's what leaders do, right? They all communicate. Just it. Now there's another. I hope this is a little bit thought-provoking findings. It's not new, but I want to share you something. This is particularly is key to our students, to our youth and future generations. Now, we have one YouTuber and a few YouTubers here in Indonesia who earns about $1.5 million a month being YouTuber. And this guy is, I know one guy here is very popular. His name is Atta. He makes $1.5 million a month. He's 26. I don't remember he graduated from any college, and he doesn't have a cut of a CEO. His recent wedding was attended by the president, the VIPs, the dignitaries, and all that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, my students and friends, should not make us envious. We should probably look at brutal facts that educations now. Now, sorry, before I go into that, how much does a PhD make? It's probably what, 10,000 a month, or maybe 15,000 a month. This guy makes 1.5 million a month. So, looking at that, we shouldn't be envious. Maybe we should accept these brutal facts as we, as educators, have to change the way we do business. Now, I'm sorry for thought-provoking opening. Since we have time, we started quite in time, and most of our preceding speakers, including Candy, delivered very prompt and punctual, minutes by minute. So I just fill out some of the things that we might be worthwhile for all of you, the participants today, to think it over again. I'm not going to steal the discussions or the points of our speakers, but today's discussion is about how we as educations, institutes, education and PR professionals, PR agency or companies and institutions help contribute to this, the things that are caused by the pandemics. Now, our first speaker, I'd like to share with you his profile. And Bapak Herbert Ang, he is the president director of PT Acer company. He finished he graduated his university in '97, and has since then been employed to numerous ICT companies, and he earns some of the top employees award during his services to companies. When he led the Indonesian PT Acer Indonesia as president director, his most remarkable accomplishment is bringing his product, his brand, to what you call it, to get an award as a top brand, and Indonesian Best Award #1 in customer service in Indonesia for notebook category. Indonesian Customer Satisfaction Award also won by him. And lastly, the brand loyalty category of Facebook for electronics. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I give this session to Pak Ang, please note that you are always free at any time to ask questions or make comments and put it on a chat box, and Candy will have correct questions later on. We are completing all 3 consecutive speakers before we hand it on to the closing remark from Ibu Prita. So there will be no the Q&A or sharing session in between other speakers. So let us just finish the 3 speakers all together, because we know this is Ramadan, and of course we'd like to finish it before the buka puasa or the fast breaking time, close to 6 o'clock later on Indonesia time, which is a GMT +7. Okay, Pak Ang, the floor and the session is yours. We look forward to hearing your presentation, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Emil. Let me start the sharing first. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the time, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for spending the time for this session. Today, I would like to share more about what we observe about what is currently happening in the education sector during this pandemic, and what is our company doing for the education sector. Next, please. So education post the pandemic, what would it be like? Is actually a very big question for everybody, what the education will be in the next future. Next, please. The pandemic has become a catalyst for consumers to migrate to digital. With the emergence of stay-at-home economy due to the pandemic, all consumer activities are now being carried out digitally. You can see the shopping, working, studying, taking medication, and even enjoying the entertainment. When the physical economy stagnated due to a pandemic, the digital economy replaced it so that the economy was still running. So we see during the pandemic, the physical economy stagnated, but it was replaced by the digital economy. And it is no wonder that the digital transformation is the most important agenda for companies in order to be able to survive in the midst of this pandemic. And for the companies, the motto is very simple: go digital or die. Go digital or die. And that's why there's also a saying, the chief digital transformation in the company is not the CIO, the chief information officer. It's not the CTO, chief technology officer, or even the CEO, chief executive officer, but it is COVID-19. So COVID-19 has become the chief digital transformation for the company and a lot of business sectors, including the education sectors. So the accelerated digitalization is one of the impact of this pandemic. And on the screen, we can see those major changes in the industry. First of all, we can see that the migration from the space to screen So in the past, most of the things we do it physically, face-to-face meeting, attending seminars, doing exercise, studying, schooling, and other activities. We do it physically. But during the pandemic, we have to move to online. And we migrate from using the space into using the screen. And with this type of the changes, we can see the birth of the Zoom generation. This generation is also called a Zoom generation. We also see the emergence of the cloud work style. People are working from home. We also can see the growth of the telemedicine. People no need to go to the hospital to see doctors, but through the screen, they can see doctors. And also we can see the online education gain momentum during this pandemic. Second one, we also can see that everything now is going, what we call it, digiware, digital anywhere. In almost every segment of our life, we need to use digital to continue our life during this pandemic. And we can see people are not going to the theater, to the cinema, but people are using podcasts now for the entertainment. And it's now, podcast now become the theater of mind. But apart from this one, another challenge is also coming in. Hoax, a lot of hoax. And hoax is the new nightmare that we are seeing today. A lot of essentials are also moving online. We buy things through the e-commerce, e-grocery, etc. And apart from it, the on-demand revolution, the growth of subscription model. So now people are not buying things just at once, but are using the subscription model. The third, contactless, go contactless. We try to not doing physical touch. We are being advised to do the social distancing. And because of that, a lot of things also has been moved to be more digital, including payments. We are not touching digital money, but we are converted to be more digital, cashless. Going to the restaurant, we are not seeing the menu books, but we are seeing the QR code. So we can see everywhere is more contactless. The fourth one, you can see also the omni channels. Everything is going to be omni. In the past, a lot of things are doing offline, but because of this pandemic, it has to go online. And the best things actually is to combine both online and the offline. In the past, we can see that families, we meet, we greet, we hug, we are very high touch. But now, during the pandemic, it has changed a bit. For some of the people, the closest circle of the family, we probably still very high touch, meet, greet, and hug. But for a bigger circle of our families, is now already high tech, using the phone, using the WhatsApp call, using the Zoom, etc., to make the call. Businesses are also moving to the O2O, and for education, hybrid learning is the ultimate solution. With all these digital things coming in, the privacy, the data privacy is also the new urgency. We can see that the cybersecurity threat is riding the growth and become the serious threat. We do see around the world there are cyber attacks. But in other hands, we also can see that awareness of privacy and security of consumers is also growing fast. We also foresee, and we also do see now, that businesses are using data tracking and customer digital behavior in order to create personalization services and products in order to win the customer hearts. So from those 5 points that has been explained before, I would like to summarize into 3 big points that I hope that everybody can see from this screen or this slide. This is the more important things that we need to remember. First of all, is going digital. Second, O2O, omni-channels. So in order for us to be able to survive, etc., going digital is one of the things. But the second one is also the omni-channels. And the third trend that we see is the data privacy become very, very important. Next, please. This landscape, education landscape, is more toward the Indonesia context. But however, in some areas, it's very similar to the other developing countries as well. So due to the time constraint, I will not touch every point of it, but some of the critical points I would like to touch. From the outer circle, we can see the changes. From the outer circle, we can see the COVID-19 propagation and also the vaccine availability is very, very important. The pattern of the people behavior changes during this COVID-19. And as a result, all business sectors, including education institutions, need to rearrange their strategies according to the needs and conditions of the society. And meanwhile, the recovery of this economy, the current economy impacted by the pandemic, will heavily depending on the availability of vaccine. If the vaccine has been mass produced and distributed, we really hope that this economy can recover. From the outer circle, I also would like to touch base on the Omni Learning platform. So for the education, I believe that everybody has experienced that Omni Learning platform is very important. Now, a lot of schools are still using the online method. But in the future, we do believe that Omni Learning platform is very important. So not only face-to-face, not only online, but it's the Omni, it's the hybrid. The other point I would like to touch on this outer circle is regarding this socio-economic learning inequality. In countries, developing countries, including Indonesia, online learning is a solution when face-to-face schools cannot be held. But in the other hand, online learning also raises crucial social problems, namely inequality in access to digital technologies, especially for students from lower economic status. So from the outer circle, we will move into the mid circle, which is talking about the customers. In this case, is the education institution. From the past slides and also from the outer circles, we can see that going digital is one of the key to survive in this pandemic. And in order to do that, meaning all the education practitioners, teachers, lecturers, students, and others need to be really digital savvy. So because of this impact of COVID-19, the reskill of digital skill or learning of digital skill has been very, very important for everybody. Then next from it, the previous slide, please. Yes. And in the inner circle, some of the things I would like to touch base is regarding the hybrid learning become mainstream. I believe that everybody already knows about it. But apart from it is also some of the challenge, which is the school digital readiness. Not all schools are ready for this digital transformation. And apart from it is also the customized learning. Students with different abilities has different needs and interests in learning. So meaning in the future, the learning approach of one fits all may not be applied or may not be so-called appropriate. It should be more toward customized learning based on the student interest, based on the student abilities and needs. And the last things in this competition is the new school. How the school to become a new school in the future. Next, please. So we have seen the changes, the challenges in the industry and as well as the education landscape. But I believe if there is a challenge, there's also an opportunity. So in order to succeed in this new normal, and I would say the next normal, so not only new normal, the next normal, we should be able to identify the issues, what is the current problem that we are having, which is in the past two slides, we have seen some of the challenges, some of the changes, and we need to adapt to the situation, which is one of the ways going digital. And then we need to innovate. What kind of innovation that the education sectors and the businesses can do in order to succeed? The growth and the innovation mindset are important to every of us. Next, please. Yes. So this pandemic, it creates a lot of problem, but it also creates a lot of opportunities. First of all, we can see the accelerated digitalization. In the past, it's so difficult to ask somebody to learn digital, but now, without any further force from anybody, everybody are being forced to learn digital skills. So with this pandemic, the accelerated digitalization and for the education is education for everybody, reducing the physical limitation, right? Then it's a big opportunity for the technology players, including ASUS. Because of this pandemic, a lot of technology products, a lot of technology opportunities has been there. We also see the rise of, we call it global local schools, meaning education now is borderless. Schools in Jakarta, with the proper technologies, with the proper methodology, can have students in Bali, in Bangkok, Manila, and other places without having to have physical campuses in those cities. So those are the good things that we can see, the opportunities that we can see, that education sectors, schools, universities now are not bound to the physical environment, but actually using the digital technology, they can expand their business, they can expand their student base in other countries, in other places, without having to have the physical building over there. Next, please. With that mindset in mind, the innovative mindset in mind, ASEAN Indonesia also going through a lot of transformation. In the past, when I ask people, what do you think about ASEAN? Everybody will tell me, oh, it's a computer, oh, it's laptop. But along the way, this company has been transforming, and we can see that apart from offering the high-end and world-class IT client computing like a notebook, desktop, etc., this company has been also supplying for the enterprise, for the servers, storage, going 2018 going to the solutions, to the IoT, even 2019 going to this digital signage, the kiosks, and apart from it, the customer service, which just now has been read by our moderator, saying that this customer service of ASEAN has been nominated and awarded more than 10 years Indonesia Customer Satisfaction Award. Rather than put it inside for the internal service, we also spin it up to become a independent entity to be able to serve and share these resources to other industry or other customers as well. During the pandemic 2020, we do see the cybersecurity threat is coming in. That's why we also incorporate with ASEAN Cybersecurity Incorporate in Taiwan, which is the biggest cybersecurity company there, to introduce the cybersecurity solution for Indonesia market. In a sense that we do see the threats coming in, we need to protect, then we come up with this offering to the market, cybersecurity offering. 2021, we also see the rise of this hybrid learning. Education sectors now need a lot of technologies. That's why we also come up with the solution offering, we call it ASEAN for Education. Next, please. So what is ASEAN for Education? Basically, ASEAN for Education is a complete solution that we design for the education sectors to adapt with the current situation, and not only adapt but innovate for the future. So in general, there's ASEAN for Education. In detail, what is it? Please, next. So actually, it's a complete solution. ASEAN will offer the complete solution from the hardware in the sense that you need computers or whatever the computers, you need the screens, projectors, you need the servers, etc. Those are the hardware ASEAN will provide it. On top of it, we also help the school with the platform, the digital platform, the software, the content, everything inside. So it's a complete solution for the schools to use. Secondly, it is reliable because uh, it is backed by ASA military grade products, and on top of it is also the service. ICSA service, as I already shared, more than 10 years. That is a proof that this company can serve you in terms of the customer service. It's also advanced because ASA has been around for more than 30 years, and we have the massive proven experience to support thousands of schools, and not only for Indonesia but worldwide. And the last thing, this platform is also collaborative in the sense that the ASA Pro Education, we also collaborate with the best in class in order to offer complete solutions to the market. So in this case, we can collaborate with the publishers, we can collaborate with a good platform, we can collaborate with schools, universities, educators in order to provide everything for the school. Next, please. From here, you can see in order for one school to be able to adopt the digital technologies well, there are 5 elements that we need to look into. From the technology itself, which is the hardware, the software itself, from the design, which is the content of the application of the platform. In this case, if there's a learning management system, what about the books? What about the video contents? What about the assessment, etc.? That's in the design part. Then the third one is the human, the teachers, the lecturers, their pedagogy skills, their communication skills, their attitude, how to help them as well in that kind of the perspective. Then the support to the teachers, the support to the lecturers, and the last part is also the evaluation, which is for the students and also for the teachers. So all of these will be included in the ASA for education. Next, please. Yeah, there's a video. Can you help to play it, please? Sorry, we can't hear the sound of it. Can you please share the sound? Yes, please.
This school means everything to me. I've been with this school through thick and thin, and together we braved all kinds of challenges. I know that every challenge comes with an opportunity, and the best amongst us will rise above these challenges to build a brighter future for our society. In all my years in education, this COVID pandemic is the biggest challenge I've faced. And yet, with my second teacher, I view it as an opportunity to drive the future of education in my school. Developed by Cambridge University alumni, my second teacher is like Google Classroom, plus Zoom, plus Khan Academy, plus Test Maker, all coming together into one. I mean, it's a single platform that provides seamless access to virtual classes, e-textbooks and workbooks, past year questions and marking schemes, e-channels and notice boards, among many others. And for school leaders like me, I have special access that gives me insights on my school operations. I can monitor my students' performance, generate daily, term-based and annual reports on students' and teachers' performance, and communicate with parents and other stakeholders based on real-time reports. And thus, I always know what is happening in my school. Additionally, I am also informed about my teachers and their activities. And if I wish, I may opt in for comparative statistics and be able to benchmark my school's performance with schools of similar stature. Now I can proudly say that my school is future ready.
Thank you. Next, please. Previous slide, I shared that for the Asia for Education, we provide the total solutions. And inside this total solution, there's one factor that I said is collaboration. So ASA, we collaborate with one of the internationally recognized platform, which is this platform has been awarded as the finalist in the highly competitive e-learning blended or flip solution category for the EdTech Cool Tool Awards, which is in 2021. So this is a very recent awards. And these awards put this company on this platform on par with the other world class platform. Secondly, this platform also has been named as the top e-learning company. They have a top e-learning company award in Asia Pacific. Next, please. So beside the platform has been internationally recognized, the platform also has been used in more than 13 countries for the top international schools. Why top international schools? Because these companies and this platform originally, my second teacher, originally they adopt the Cambridge curriculum. Next, please. So with the mindset of innovative and also the collaborative, ASA Indonesia, we collaborate with my second teacher, which is a highly recognized internationally in terms of the award, which what we just saw. We collaborate with them to come into Indonesia, then transform from the international curriculum to become the Indonesia curriculum. And my second teacher in outside Indonesia is known as my second teacher. In Indonesia, we also collaborate with them to create one platform called Jelajah Ilmu, which is all the interface are using the Bahasa. So in this case, rather than having everything in English, we know what is the market needs. With this type of the innovation in mind, we do the translation of the platform into Bahasa Indonesia platform, and the curriculum also using the Indonesian curriculum. Apart from the platform itself, we are also offering the cybersecurity for the education in order to protect the environment as well. So this is one of the part of this ASA for Education, which is on top of inside this ASA for Education, there's a hardware, there's a software, there's a platform which is this Jelajah Ilmu. We also incorporate with the cybersecurity services. Next, please. So inside this Jelajah Ilmu, all the contents, the ebooks, videos, the videos, tutorials, the assessment, everything is inside, and that is based on the Indonesian curriculum. It's single platform, meaning that using one platform, we can do the online classes without need to going through the Zoom or Google Meet, etc. But using this platform, all the features are there already. Then we also can do the giving the assessment, or grading the assessment, assessing the learning resources, online, offline, are all inside. Then the communication as well. Also, it involves the communication for all stakeholders, meaning that using these single platforms, the school principals, school teachers, the students, and even the parents all can communicate and all can be involved in the learning and teaching process. The last part, it is non-generic. Although it's one platform, but every school, when they log in into the platform, everybody will have their own logo inside. So it is like a school-owned or a university-owned platform. Next, please. Jelajah Ilmu is a comprehensive solution for the future education. Using the ASEAN education and Jelajah Ilmu, the schools can adapt to the current situations, which is need to go into digital, and all the things will be done through this ASEAN for education. Is a complete solution for the education sectors, and is suitable for both hybrid or the blended learning. Apart from it, which is quite important, and it is one of the idea that currently I do see some of schools are practicing. Using the platforms, they create what they call it is a master class. So the teachers, let's say among one level, there are 5 teachers that teaches the same subjects. Among these 5 teachers, one is the best. So this the best is chosen to become the master teacher in order to bring and deliver the online education, the teaching to the students. And during this online education, what they're trying to do is when there is a physical class, they would like to put the teachers in that class, I mean the teachers that originally teach in that class to become so-called assistant teachers. In that type of scenario, the students can learn from the best teachers while in the class they still can touch base with the teachers, their original teachers, in order to help them, support them in doing the questionnaires, in doing all the quizzes, or doing some of the discussion, etc. So with that type of the approach, the quality of the teachers and quality of the teachings actually can improve significantly. Real-time students' performance and trackings, we also can see from this platform. And apart from it, all the data actually are recorded, meaning that there can be history data for us to track and to do the analysis. And the last thing, using this technology, the school operational costs actually can be reduced. Why? Because let's say the physical book, digital books, the cost will be totally different. So for the schools, there's also will be a operational cost reduction as well. Next, please. With that, I would like to conclude this presentation and sharing with some of the quotes or some of the saying that with the proper adoption of the technologies and strategies, it is not impossible for the education sectors to be stronger than before. So meaning that this pandemic not only create a problem to us, but actually through the pandemics, a lot of innovation can be come up from the education sectors, and with that, education sectors will become even stronger in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Ebert. We are not allowing yet the question and answer or comments after your session. After all 3 speakers concluded their speakings, then we will start giving the options to audience to ask questions or share. With that in mind, we would very much appreciate if you remain monitoring the session until shortly before the closing, so you're able to answer questions and answers by the participants.
We'll do, Pak.
I guess, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I guess it's fair to say that a company like you, a leading ICT company with a vision to educate the society, your religion is innovation. And I guess that's what makes it interesting, that we have to be innovative in a way. But it's important to just, before I give it to the next speakers, we've heard you say hardware, software, and we as educators, without moralware, we go nowhere. Sorry for the quote. So at the end of the day, we build characters. So that is why schools are still important, and physical interaction do help that. Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to welcome Professor Marco Empolo. Marco is an associate professor at the Communications and Journalism Department and director for University Advancement at De La Salle University as Dasmanias. This is in the Philippines. He is a former two-term national president of the Philippines, Associations of Communication of Education. He is also a member of the board management of the ASEAN Media Information Research and Communication Center, AMIC. He was a recipient of the Educational Technology in Innovation Award given by his university and Center of Innovative Learning Programs, and now also honored as the Distinguished Alumni for Communication Education by the College of Communications at University of the Philippines at Los Baños. Okay, Marco, are you ready? The session is yours, man. Thanks.
Terima kasih. Pleasant day to all. Magandang araw, mabuhay to my kababayans from the Philippines in attendance today, my students and my colleagues in PACE. If I can be allowed to share my screen, please. I'd also like to greet our friends here in Indonesia. Hariyang menyangkakan untuk semua. Terima kasih telah mengundang saya hari ini. Saya menantikan sesi berbagi dan belajar. Okay. My broken bahasa. Thank you again, LSPR, ASEAN PR Network, the Global Alliance for PR and Communication Management for inviting me to share with you today. Perspectives on education and how it's been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'd like to invite everyone first to go to zthings.com. That is something in my slide. I have a short activity. I typed it in the chat box. So I'd also like to go to the next slide, please. Please, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so you see there on screen, I'd like you to go to zthings.com/cramolop. I just have a short activity for everyone in attendance here to take part in. So I'm gonna activate it now. So you can take a screenshot or you can scan the QR code so that you can go into zthings.com. Okay, so let me start. I just have 4 questions. I'd like you to answer them briefly. So let's just wait for most of the participants to go into zthings. Okay. Okay, so the first question is, where are you right now? Where are you coming from? So we have about 26 people in zthings. Let's give about a minute more for more of you to come in there. So please go to zthings.com. Okay, so in the interest of time, so we'll have to move forward. Again, you can go to ztings.com/cramallop, or you can scan the QR code to participate. So let's see where the participants are coming from. Okay, we have a majority are from Asia. Some are from other places. Let's go to the next question. At your current location, are students able to go to school? So please select the most appropriate response. Are they able to go to school? Yes, via online. Yes, via in person. Or C, via online and in person. Or D, no, schools are closed. Or E, I have no idea. So key in your responses. Okay, let's find out. Okay, majority are online, no in person. There's hybrid, online and in person. No, schools are closed. Well, in some places, it's their academic break. Although in some places, schools are definitely closed because of the situation. The next question is, what is the COVID-19 situation in your current area where you are at right now? Okay, so it doesn't have to be your country, but in your current location, your community, your immediate community where you are, if you're aware. Is it A, are cases rising? Or B, cases are decreasing? C, vaccination is ongoing. You can select multiple responses here. And D, we are in lockdown, localized or national. Or E, you have no idea. Okay, so let's find out. Okay, we have 25 responses. Maybe that's enough to see. Okay, well, 38% cases are rising. Only a few are saying that their cases are decreasing. Vaccination is ongoing. We are in lockdown. Yeah, like here in the Philippines. In where I am at now, we are in a bubble called NCR plus. The last question is, how would you rate the media industry or sector in your current location? Okay. First, as a source of information regarding COVID-19, is media a reliable or not reliable source? Second, as a source of mis or disinformation about COVID-19, is it not reliable or reliable? And then finally, as a source of information regarding the COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, so we're just waiting for your response. And then if I'd like to request the organizers, if I can share my own screen. If I can be given permission. Okay, thank you. I still cannot share my screen. So let's find out your responses. Okay. So as a source of information, 4 stars, 4 out of 5. As a source of mis and disinformation, it's a middle ground. As a source of information regarding vaccination, okay, 3.5 stars is the response. So thank you. I can now share my screen. Thank you for your participation in that short exercise. It's basically trying to just feel the pulse of those who are in attendance today. And well, of course, it's not representative of a broader study. Just because of those who are just here today, I'm just feeling your pulse. So let me now proceed to the meat of my presentation. I have my outline here. It's entitled The Opportunities and Obstacles and Opportunities with respect to the impact of COVID-19 to education. So with respect to the obstacles, I'm going to talk about the global education crisis and the pandemic's infodemic. You've probably heard of the term infodemic. If not, we're going to talk about it in a while. Then the last 2 points, we're going to talk about opportunities with respect to the role of media and public relations and education and MIL, or media information literacy, in fighting this war against the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, the truth of the matter is that we are in a global crisis, especially our sector in education. This is an installation activity held at the lawn of the United Nations headquarters in New York. They put out 168 tables and chairs, desks with backpacks of students to represent 168 million children who are not able to go to school because of the current pandemic. At the height of the crisis, it went up to more than a billion children. In the UNESCO tracker, this is the snapshot for it today. 174 million are actually unable to go to school as learners. Those in the dark or shade are countries wherein they're all closed. The schools are closed because of the rising cases in the pandemic, and then that represents 10% of the total enrolled learners. But as I said, last year, at the height of the pandemic, more than 1.5 billion children were unable to go to school. This was at the height of the nationwide lockdowns and the closure of many country borders. This includes more than half are girls. So that represents 89% of the world's student population. So classes were still going on, but in very limited locations. Now, you also have the category called the NEET, or the not in education, employment, or training persons. There's about 267 million of them, and two-thirds are young women. So if you're gonna present it in this manner, if you're gonna cut it down into 100 people, the World Bank predicts that 63 out of 100 children will be in what is called learning poverty. This is in a post-COVID-19 scenario. So these are children who are unable to go to school, are deprived of schooling, who are forced to stop schooling because of the pandemic. Only 37% of, or 37 out of 100 children will be able to go or continue their learning. In the Philippines, where I am from, of course, the crisis has hit hard all the sectors, but particularly where I come from, from the private schools. We've seen an exodus of many students stopping schooling or transferring to the public school system. But even our public school system is heavily burdened and affected by the crisis. In the Philippines, our public school system has adopted a hybrid system, but mostly it is still via modular learning. So modules are printed and are sent to the houses of the students or picked up by their parents at the schools. At the private school sector, many have adopted online distance learning, but still many schools who are not able to adopt are forced to close. And that's why it has affected hundreds of thousands of employees of these private educational institutions, both at the basic education and up to the higher education. And this is just a collage of pictures of the struggles and challenges of Filipino teachers and children. The picture on the upper right, you see children studying even at night because they have to work during the day to help their parents. You have the next picture in the middle. You have teachers, you have to ride a motorized boat to bring the modules to the children in far-flung areas. The next picture on the upper left, you have children studying inside the Philippine jeepney. Why? Because their parents, who are jeepney drivers, are out of work and they've been kicked out of their homes. They now live inside these jeepneys. And then the picture on the lower left, lower right, you see here teachers holding their cell phones. This is on top of their school building, trying to get a signal. This is for them to attend a webinar like this or trainings. In some areas in the Philippines, internet signal is really bad, and generally internet connection is very slow. So we are in this difficulty for the past year already. Now, the World Bank has identified different strategies on how this shocks to education can be addressed. So it looks at different opportunities and possibilities, but it has already emphasized the strong economic impact also of the school closures to the economy of different countries. So there's the direct impact, particularly on the operations of the institutions, on their health and safety. Many teachers and even students have also been infected by the virus. And of course, on the economic side, there's an increase in the dropout rate of students. Many children are forced to work and stop schooling to help their families. Parents who have lost their jobs, companies and factories that have closed or have laid off people. And of course, on the supply side, there are also government spending has been diverted to the health response to the crisis. And that is why it has really affected the education sector. Now we move to the next point, the second point, which is the infodemic that's going on. The World Health Organization defines it as too much information, including false or misleading information in the digital and physical environments during a disease outbreak. So the infodemic is not just new to this COVID-19 crisis. It has been used even in previous outbreaks like the Ebola, the SARS-CoV, etc. But what is this infodemic all about? It's really the rapid spread of disinformation and misinformation. First Draft, which is an organization that monitors and tracks disinformation disorder, that's what they call it, defines the three kinds of information disorder. You have misinformation, which is an unintentional mistake. So it could be an inaccurate photograph, wrong caption, wrong date. So it's not intentionally made to appear wrong. But you have the bigger problem, which is disinformation, which is our fabricated or deliberately manipulated audiovisual materials, which are intentionally created by conspiracy theories to spread rumor and discontent. And of course, you have malinformation, which is on the extreme level of falsehood and which intends to cause harm. So you have your hate speech, dangerous speech, and all other forms of information that is meant to harm other people. I'd like you to type your answer in the chat box, okay? So these are the 7 common forms of information disorder. We have 1, satire or parody, 2, misleading content, 3, imposter content, 4, fabricated content, 5th, false connections, 6, false content, and 7th, manipulated content. How many of these have you actually encountered? No? Especially in the last few days. So you can just type your answer in the chat box and we'll try to see it later during the discussion. Many of us are actually exposed to a combination of this information disorder types 24/7 probably. Now, according to UNESCO, we need to know the difference between disinformation and misinformation. And that's why I already explained to you. To put it simply, disinformation is false and it intends to cause harm. Misinformation is false, but not deliberately created to do harm. While malinformation is based on reality, but is used to inflict harm. Now, I want to go to this next point. I was asked by the organizers actually to answer this question. Does journalism nurture or rupture social cohesion and resilience? Okay, I'll try to answer this by providing data from recent studies and also to share my own perspective. Media has bias. No, we cannot say that media is value-free or media is neutral. Media has a leaning and an inclination, whether it is in the political spectrum or whether it is in the advocacies and stories that they carry. In this infographic by All Slides, they did the media bias rating of many large media companies, particularly in North America or particularly in the West. And you look at here from those who are left, leaning left to the center, to those who are leaning right, and then those who are rightmost or right-wing types of media organizations. How many of them are actually media platforms that you're accessing, subscribing to, or reading? So check where they are. The other source, which is the mother of all media bias charts, is this one made by Ad Fontes Media, which is an American-based organization, but they've classified media companies and organizations by looking into their content. And they've classified them as those who are most extreme left to the most extreme right. But they also look at their reliability on the left side of the spectrum here. How reliable are the content of the news stories that they are producing and releasing? Below is their bias, whether they're left or right-wing bias. If you look at the top corner, the ones in the dotted green lines, they're considered to be the most reliable media companies. And down below, be careful because they're really unreliable based on the content analysis of their content. This chart is changing and is shifting because they do periodic studies. I'm actually trying to do something also here for the Philippines, and I'm trying to work around to collaborate with these people from Ad Fontes Media. Okay, so what is media's role in this pandemic? I believe that media's role is to keep us informed, to keep us connected, and also to keep us sane. No? Whether it's to entertain us, whether it is to distract us, we can use some fresh ideas and different perspectives. It's not always 24/7 COVID-19 coverage. But also in the recent Edelman Trust Barometer study, this is the most latest one that was released late last year. The problem now is a trust across media, the legacy media, and the traditional and new media is declining. I remember seeing a presentation in one of the global PR network presentations. They talked about a higher media trust, but the latest data shows that media trust is declining. For search engine, from a high of 65 percentage points, it's now down to 56. For traditional media, same 65. It's now down to 53. And then for owned media, all indicators are going down, meaning the trust of the public is going down on media. Why is that so? There are many explanations for this. There are those who are accusing media of being biased, as I said, or for having preferences. Here in the Philippines, they've been accused of being perpetrators, propagandists, prostitutes, and so many other nasty words. But really, we also have to give it to media. They're still trying to do their job. They're putting their lives on the line and at risk. In this recent study published by the International Center for Journalists, they surveyed thousands of journalists, English-speaking journalists in many countries, and this is what the result of their study. So let me share some highlights. So they surveyed 1,400 respondents coming from the following countries. Most of the respondents are women, and many of them are from the legacy or traditional media companies. What are some of the main findings? Some of the key points raised here are many journalists covering this devastating story are doing this at great personal risk. Many of them have even died from the pandemic. Look at this. From presemble.ch. As of today, 1,203 journalists have died from the pandemic, coming from 76 countries, including Indonesia and the Philippines. I know some media practitioners in the Philippines that have died from the pandemic. Some have recovered, but some are still sick. Okay. They also lamented that employers appear to have failed in their duty of care, especially at the start of the pandemic. Many companies, they were not able to provide personal protective equipment to their reporters, to their journalists. Some even don't have insurance to cover them when they get sick. So this is a lamentable fact of the state of our journalists in terms of those who are covering the pandemic. Now, other questions include how frequently the respondents encounter disinformation. These are the journalists answering this survey. The top answer is many times a week. So many times in a week they encounter disinformation. Now, what are your expectations with respect to the changes in the people's engagement with media content? So the top answer is that more engagement with their stories, more than usual. What did the respondents describe as difficult or very difficult aspects of covering the pandemic? The top answer is the psychological and emotional impact of the pandemic, particularly to them, because they are also affected. They can get sick. They have loved ones, family members, colleagues who get sick as well, but also they're also exposed to daily stories of struggle. If you can see the recent pictures in India, India is burning because they're cremating so many people who are dying from the pandemic. There was a time in Brazil they were running out of coffins because there are so many people dying in a day. So down the line, these are the other impacts of the crisis to them. Okay, so I'll try to skip some of the items. Now, this is something that would interest you, the audience in attendance. Who are the sources of this information according to the journalist surveyed? Okay, number one source, you guessed it right, politicians and elected officials were identified as the top source of this information. Agree or disagree? Type it in the chat box if you have your perspectives on this. Second would be government agencies and their representatives themselves are the leading source of this information. Third are the state-linked troll networks. This is something that's very popular in the Philippines. We're considered as ground zero for troll farms. And this has been studied extensively by fellow colleagues and scholars on how the social media has been weaponized and how it's been used by politicians for their own ends. This leads to a lack of trust in our political and governmental actors. Who are the main spreaders of this information, or what are the platforms that are the top sources of spreading this information? You guess it right. Facebook, of course, is the largest social networking site, but it's followed closely by Twitter. The third one is actually WhatsApp. It's still owned actually by Facebook. I know, it's very popular in Indonesia. Okay, so let me share with you that it's important for us to become news literate, because studies show that the more news literate you are, the less likely you are to believe in conspiracy theories. So read up, validate, fact check. Okay. Now the latest, there's another one that I'm going to share with you. This one was just released last week. This was produced by the Annenberg Center for Public Relations. I don't know if my colleagues in LSPR or ASEAN PR or JPR have read this, but this is a very recent report. I just discussed this in my class actually this week, and it's about the politics, polarization, and purpose. So they talked about the following. They surveyed American journalists and PR practitioners, and also global PR practitioners and journalists. So they talked about first, what is the positive impact of the Biden administration to global affairs. So these are the responses. So I'll skip some of the items here. What is the future of media according to journalists? This is for the global respondents. The top answer here is that in terms of increasing, they see an increase in the credibility of the White House communication team. And then this is followed by regulation of social media platforms and the proliferation of conspiracy theories. They see a decrease in the following: the amount of news dedicated to politics and consumer consumptions of traditional news. Okay, in terms of the future of purpose, this is relevant for those in the PR industry. The following are the important issues: building diversity, promoting values, being responsive, etc. And then in terms of the business side of PR, these are the results. You will get a copy of my presentation, so you can get links to these reports. They're all free to download anyways, but I've curated some of the important aspects here. I'd like to draw your attention to the item on the right here. Okay, when PR professionals and journalists were asked what are one of their main concerns is to expect greater mutual respect. You see here, the numbers are still low. I hope that this will increase, that both professions will continuously develop mutual respect for each other. Okay. The COVID-19 crisis is not just the century's largest public health emergency, but it's also a communication crisis. Okay, this is according to Melissa Fleming of the United Nations. That is why what is important here is that we need to find a solution to the problem, and we need the tools, the capacities, the competencies to address that. Now, what are these tools and competencies? Let's look at the education side first. The first speaker already spoke about some of the solutions, like providing tools to capacitate institutions and teachers. So how can we respond, recover, and reimagine education from this pandemic? The United Nations, the World Health Organization, UNESCO, and the World Bank have already defined and produced many policy papers to talk about this. They want schools and countries and governments to seize opportunities to make access to education more equitable, more effective, and also more resilient. In this policy brief that was published last year by the United Nations, they talked about how can the learning crisis be prevented from becoming a generational catastrophe. It's already impacted millions and hundreds of millions of children. How can we stop the bleeding? How can we stop that? There are four recommendations. First is to stop the transmission of the virus, to allow the schools to safely reopen. We can see here a correlation between countries that have achieved herd immunity or those who have vaccinated a great number of their adult population. Their schools will open very soon. Protect education financing and coordinate for impact, especially the private sector, which doesn't receive a lot of support from government. Build resilient education systems, hybrid, online distance learning, flexible learning systems, and then reimagine education and accelerate change in the teaching and learning process. We need to equip and capacitate the teachers because they cannot give what they do not have. The World Bank also defines the goals for improved global learning with joy, purpose, and rigor for everyone, everywhere. I also developed a framework that I'm sharing here briefly with you. I call it the Educating Framework. It's a framework that my school has been adopting, and I've shared it to other colleagues in the Philippines on how we can be more caring as an educational institution. We need to stay connected and compassionate with our students, provide accessibility and adapt opportunities, and make learning adaptable. We need to make it relevant and respectful. And the last one is to make the learning process educational and entertaining. The last item I'd like to share with you is about media and information literacy. So what is MIL? According to UNESCO, MIL empowers citizens to understand the function of media and other providers of information so that all of us can critically evaluate content and to make informed decisions as users and producers of information and media content. Whenever you're exposed to a media text, somebody shared it in your group chat, somebody forwarded it to you, you saw it on television, ask yourself the following questions. Who made it? What creative techniques were used to attract your attention? How might other people understand the message from you differently? What lifestyles, values, or points of views are presented or omitted? And why is this being sent to you? This will help you sift through the sheer volume of information that you are encountering. Let us beware of false experts. People who are not doctors prescribing medicine. People who are not health experts who are saying do this and do that. Those who are not in the know of how to address this pandemic are sometimes claiming to know more than those who are given the responsibility to deal with the crisis. And that's why it's important for us to know the facts. Get to the bottom of the facts. If you receive information, hey, there's this miracle drug that can cure COVID, check the facts first, go to the source, fact check, cross check, and double check. Okay, and then truthful information can save lives. You know, the virus is spreading, but disinformation is also spreading, if not as fast, even faster than the virus itself. Let us stop the spread of disinformation. Okay. I'd like to share this video with you very quickly. The UNESCO new curriculum on MIL was just launched recently, actually last week. Let's watch the short video. Okay, that report is available for free. You can download it from the UNESCO website. I can share it to colleagues, and it's something that we should all get into to help fight the infodemic. Wait, there's more. I'd just like to share a few more things. For for a better normal, for a better future, I invite our colleagues in public relations to help fight disinformation, this infodemic, by joining fact-checking organizations. There's a global disinformation index that was just launched very recently. We can also be part of it. And if you're an MIL advocate, there's a global alliance for the promotion of media and information literacy, or it's GAP. It's called GAPMIL. Okay, and then for our students, our colleagues, and everyone in this webinar or web conference, before you share anything, think: is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And also pause before you post. Is it positive? Is it accurate? Is it useful? Is it supportive? And is it also ethical? Okay. And then one more thing before I end my presentation. I just have a few more seconds left. Let us remember that we need indeed to reconfigure, redesign, re-engineer, and reimagine education because of the crisis. We need to make it inclusive, inspiring, and innovative. As Alvin Toffler said, we need to learn because the illiterates of the 21st centuries are those who cannot read or write. It's people who cannot learn, relearn, and unlearn. And in this pandemic, though it is a crisis, it is a chance for us to do meaningful change. Thank you so much, LSPR, ASEAN PR Network, Global Alliance for PR Communication and Media Management, for this opportunity to share some thoughts on this matter. Salamat, terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Professor Marco. That was an inspiring presentation, hard fact data, and some of them are quite sad at what happened to our sectors, to educational sectors in your country. And I don't think it's exclusive in your country. I think it's everywhere. There's an interesting finding. Just quickly, I want to share your presentation, which is quite weird in a way. If many public information come from public office, and they are actually the what you call infodemicians, who is actually giving disinformation, misinformation, and worse, malinformation. So I think that's where public relations come as key to help them manage their reputation. Because I think one way it is the information that is disinformed, misinformed, or malinformed. But on the other side, it is their true identity because we entrusted them. So if they lose our trust, they lose the entire reputation. And that shouldn't be in the office. I think it's everywhere. And it's very critical that we as educationers and public relation professionals also giving solutions to our officials. Now, last, before I hand in to the next speakers, I would like to share a comparable data of what happened in your perspective. In Indonesia, 80% of public information come from public offices. But you know what? Over 70% of that information is being used to attack the government. So where is this situation hanging on? Again, it's in trust. It's in the credibility of that information. And thank you very much. That was a very inspiring professor. I think we all appreciate it. And also to all participants, the organizers have file and documents. If you'd like to have it, we can send it to you. Okay, thank you. Now let me read a little bit about our next speaker. Miss Marina Kozak. She is from Russia, and since the turn of the millennium, in the early 2000s, she has had careers in a number of prominent institutions in education. She is also a marketer of few companies in Russia and the previous Russian Union countries, which is called CIS. Marina started a career at Economic Research Foundation, where she joined as a marketing manager in 2003 and quickly rose to the position of head of marketing department, and her career development in the global corporations was greatly influenced by Crop. It's a technology company like we have here in Indonesia, like Telkomsel, it's called Crop, where she has managed marketing communication, responsible for promoting solutions of telecommunication industry, manufacturers of a number of clients. Without further ado, Marina, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you very much. It's nice to see you, everyone here in this conference. Thank you for organizing to invite me here. Today, may I ask you to give me the rights to share the screen? Thank you. So today I would like to talk to you about the content and what's happening with the content after pandemic. So let me add a little bit about our university, because today the previous speaker, Marco, was telling us about the different changes in education. But I wanted to say that we were ready to these changes, because we launched already the full degree programs for the master degree level. And we saw that a lot of students was joining these online programs, and the previous year has the highest intake in all our history from the point of view of the international students. So it means that we make before and build our system in that case that we focus all the content in online. So we have the all digital content, and plus we organize the consultancy center for the education student also online. But let's talk about the contact as the basis for communication. The next slide, please. What's happening during the pandemic? Of course, we saw that a lot of customers changed their behavior, and now we are oriented on the new patterns of their behavior, because we analyze also the customer journey maps on our website, and we saw which formats of information are more effective, which are not. How many steps students should do to reach the needed content for them, and how they choose which content is better for them or not. Everyone was tired of online education, online conferences, on everything what was happening in online. But at the same time, it gives us the new opportunities. For example, we launched the online study tour experience, and we attract a lot of students. We increased the number of students in 20 times that it was before when we organized the study tour experience offline. And it gives us a lot of opportunities to open the new countries and to show to new countries and to new students our options how to study at HSC University. And we build the communication in that way that we use everything is online. And it's a very good opportunities for all of us. Of course, when we was on situation of pandemic, most of us was thinking that to be alone, to stay at our own flats or homes, it's very hard from psychology point of view. And of course, most of us wanted to communicate. But a lot of people, they prefer this blended format. The blended format of work or of education, because they can do a lot. They can combine some tasks which they are doing in their personal time or during their education. We opened for all of us the situations when we can be in two events at the same time, or we can solve a lot more tasks than we can do it before when all of us was staying offline. Also, some of us was telling that there are no borders among the personal and work balance. And also Marco was telling that about the balancing work and home or education. But most of us find out that it's as an advantages, because you can stay, for example, with your children at home, and at the same time you're working. You don't need to try to track the babysitter, for example, if your children are very disciplined. So pandemic for some people gives opportunities to open the new markets, to open the new possibilities, and to build their own life in that case, which is more comfortable for them. Because before, only the global companies was using the blended format of working, when some people was working at home, some people in the office, but now everyone can do this. And most of the companies, they minimize their costs not by renting the buildings for the work, and the people are working from home. And also, this situation creates a very demanding quality content. We need to be more creative to attract the people to buy our products or services. It doesn't matter in which area we are working, in education or in producing some foods, etc. So how we can create the content and what should be the next steps? Could you please put the next slide? So what to do? We need to find out the way how to introduce the quality content and transform it according to the behavior of different people. Before, we was mostly thinking about the creation of the content and the publication, and we never was thinking about the management of this content, in which, so we was thinking but never managed this content, which was used in different devices, in different channels, and so on. And the main important thing now, which we need to be focused, is optimization. We need to convert and to analyze the conversion of all our media communication. So when we are talking about PR in general, it never calculates how many which conversions it gives to us. When we publish something, we are expecting different activities, different behavior from the customers. So, and it should be measurable. That's why it's very important to see the full life cycle of content, the creation, the management of the content, the publication, and the optimization. We need to understand which person receives better the content, someone maybe in social media, someone in search engine websites, someone in newspapers in the digital form. Maybe you need to create the apps and so on. We need clearly to understand where is our target audience, what we need to tell to this audience, and how. It's very important. The next slide, please. What we saw at the moment, what's happening with the students, with the new generations. They are all surrounded by mobile and online technologies from birth. And also education is not exception. They actively involved in different social environments. They make the decision based on online information. For example, in the US, the university's website is already one of the three key reasons to choose for the applications. So we need to build all our website, the short information, very clear and easily to understand. Now the generation is very creative and multitasking rather than it was through required focused, compact, relevant presentation of information. It makes the high demand for the very creative information and easily use of the resources. The next slide, please. It's very important to use a single database, a single graphic, interactive, and the video content between all the departments of the companies. If we're talking about the universities, it should be one window of services which publish the information, which manage all the content, because it should be aligned with we can say the headquarter, if there is the management of the university and there are different departments which publish different content. All departments should have the easy access to the media database during the production of new digital content. And this new digital content should be easily accessed to all the departments in institute or in any other organization. It should be also the efficient storage, conversion, and retrieval. Versions control for media, graphics, advertising, and text materials for all branches in the university's activities. Because sometimes we saw the situation with one department create something and other department didn't know it. But maybe we are the big university, it looks like the corporation, but maybe in small universities there is no such kind of problems, but still we are oriented on that management system of the content which are used in the big companies. And also this information, that media content which we produced should be the similar as for the internal users in our university, also for the external ones. The next slide, please. So what we need to do, we need to focus to the digital resource management challenges, which appears as more intensive in front of us after the pandemic. We need to have the flexible management of our websites, applications, and shared digital content in a single workspace environment to be automated delivery to different devices. As for the PC, mobile, to the social media, to the content, to different multi-screen devices, the print, and so on. The comprehensive coverage of mobile technologies, users, applicants, and devices should be very clear for all of us. We need to launch the new online platforms, digital resources, and mobile applications in a single environment. We don't need to attract IT specialists because they are more technical ones. We need to do it from the marketing and PR perspective. So we should have the employees in the companies or in the universities which understand what they can do, how to deliver the needed content to concrete target audience, in which platform, in which format, and so on. And of course, it's very important to have an A/B testing and to provide only that content which gives the highest conversion, highest reaction or call to action after reading the information or seeing it in any social networks or whatever. We need also to attract non-technical employees for our marketing and PR activities. The next slide, please. And one of the very important tasks which the content should bring to the company is monetization. We need to understand how to provide the content with the best result which bring us the additional money. We need to focus on the new target segments. We need to understand and to deliver the personal content to the customer, analyzing it. So we need to have the big data analysis to understand what is the interest of the customer, why they media content or read the information for further call to action to buy our product or services. We need to create the shoppable media interactive offers in a video stream, and we saw that the media content, the streaming is very popular at the moment. And for example, the video short advertisement, which were used before, not in education, now is very, very important among the potential customer audience. So we need to think how to create the very attractive and creative content. And also it's very important to use omni-channel personalized information campaigns, because all of us likes when we have the personal communication, not the mass market, and this will bring us more effectiveness from the monetization of the content. The next slide, please. And how we need to manage everything about what I was talking about. When I was working in Adobe, we launched the Adobe Marketing Cloud, and especially this product helps different companies to have the one universal digital content cluster, which helps to manage the different content. It gives also the opportunity to reduce the costs and the time spending on content creation and resource management. Also, you can centralize and simplify access to any internal digital resources. You don't need to create something new. You will just use the templates which are already tested on the target audience, and you will use only those which brings the maximum effectiveness. Monetization through omni-channel delivery and the content targeting. Ability to make the dozens or hundreds of changes per day on online resources without involving IT. It also gives you opportunity to have the immediately changing according to the analytics which you have. If you understand that you publish one information and no reaction in the prime time or in the highest hours when you usually have the interest to your website or to your social media or to other resources, you can change it immediately and to see the reaction, how the patterns of behavior are changing. And also the technology platform for implementing the most modern methods of working with the audience. There are a lot of options, and of course, everyone can choose different platforms, but the main idea is that we need to think about the content delivery, the personal content delivery, and how to manage and optimize it. Could you bring the next slide, please? And finally, I wanted just to give some advices to those universities, or if you are the owner of your business or you plan to publish something, different content, please think ahead. What will be happened with the audience? Where is your target audience? What they are expecting from your product? Sometimes we are not communicating with a relevant audience and just lose our time. Think about the new patterns of behavior and how the audience will receive your content. Because sometimes we are thinking that, oh, we are publishing something in social media networks, and when we have the one advertising, the second one or the third, or you said, no, I hate this university or hate this product. Just don't be noisy and change your content according to the behavior and the wishes of their target audience. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm ready to open them.
In the beginning, when I introduced you, I missed the part that you are the Vice Deputy Rector of SSE University in Russia. Okay, so pardon me about that. Thank you. We're going to wrap up the question and the questions later on after our pinnacle speaker. And ladies and gentlemen, we've now come to the ultimate speakers. Of course, a lady that needs no more introduction because of her reputation precedes her presence here. Let us welcome, heartfelt welcome to Ibu Prita Kemal Gani. Hi, Ibu. Floor is yours.
Hello, hi, I'm Prita Kemal Gani. I would like to share with you about how education institutions survive and make the most of the opportunity during this pandemic of COVID-19. This is the profile of LSPR, the school that I founded 29 years ago. And the school has 5,000 students, and we all have 22,000 alumni, and we have 55 university partners around the world, and we have 322 lectures and 372 staff and around 500 more corporate partners for our graduates to have a job training and a job placement. And of course, COVID-19 impact and affected a lot to the education sector, as around 1.1 billion students around the world out of school, meaning has to study from home, and around 63 million teachers and lecturers have to teach from home, and around 144 countries have implemented nationwide or localized lockdown. So this is a history that we live on it. And of course, with the situation that is decoding the economic of COVID-19, and education is a part of the impact that actually also affected to this COVID-19, as many parents have lost their job, or many parents has lost their business, have struggling to send their children to go to university and to pay for the tuition fee. And of course, many international students cannot study overseas because of the restrictions of the international student coming to a certain country. And also, many students prefer to have a gap year during these online classes. So this has really affected the education sector of this COVID-19. But we don't want to just surrender to what happened. We always think at the other side of what happened. So we find the opportunity how to make the most of this COVID-19 to become the winner of these challenges. So because of this online learning, making everything beyond border. So we have the ideas, instead of students going overseas to study, they can study here in Indonesia with the international lectures. So that's why we found LSPR Omni. Omni is meaning online and offline. So Omni lectures are coming from the whole world and able to teach the student via Zoom or Google Meet. So this make the students become very happy, and the classroom become very interesting, and of course the discussions become wide and students become knowledgeable because there's so many perspectives and also ideas and creativities coming from the international lectures and our own lectures and the students. And also this LSPR Omni program not only having the international lectures to teach in LSPR program, but also LSPR lectures to teach in the university program. So we all have a wider perspective and ideas and also insight. And of course, because of the situations currently prohibit us for having the activities by face-to-face. But the business must go on. So we teach students how to have their entrepreneurship on the Entrepreneur Center in LSPR to sell their product via the platform that we created, we call LSPR Plaza. And it's quite successful. They sell food, products, free love items, and some creative things also inside the LSPR Plaza. And then now what we do, if it's just only teaching the student from home and just only facing the computer, it's going to be bored. So that's why we have to create something to make the classrooms via Zoom, via Google Meet become very interesting. First, we have to teach the lectures and the staff to be work more in the digital friendly. as this technology suddenly that we have to master it. So the audience and the customer and the student will enjoy the result. And the teachers or lecturers can use games or gamifying the subjects or the lessons learning to make the student experience some things that more interesting rather than just lectures presentations, like making the learning experience through a game show like the treasure hunt, the wheel of the fortunes, and who wants to be a millionaire. So there's a lot of things again that make the classroom become very interesting and live. And also in the classroom via Google Meet or via Zoom, really have to make it very nice by making a wow effects. So student can do a presentations with some creativity, how to present their presentations. We present their presentations creatively. And of course, this time we can always learn from the best practice and learn from each other. And of course, in the academic side, in the management system, it is a time for us to move faster to technology. So everything we can do it through online. The attendance, the assignment marking, group discussion, quizzes and game online marking, the mark from mid-test, the final exam marking, and also report, all through online. So this is something very new for us that we have to do it fast. And also, in order to make the lessons plans become more interesting, mostly in the classroom we invite guest lectures. We can still invite guest lectures through Zoom and Google Meet. We can also organize conference or webinar through online to make it all the sessions become interesting. And still, we need to meet. We need to, we need to interact. So that's why we can interact still with the alumni by having a program and together by making a charity event, singing together, dancing together, or we can do it through online. And of course, in this time, it's not an easy time. Students also sometimes need consultations. Mostly the consultation is done in the room in the campus. But now they can do a consultation through online with a certain time that's been set by the counselors and the students. And the counseling time is very important, as nowadays, because students study from home, and it's not really all students can take this. Many of them also had mental health concerns because of the cabin fever, and also sometimes students also have difficulty in learning, not only face-to-face, but even more difficult if it's through online. So we prepare a special time for counselors to meet the student by a certain times that we all agree. So we have here this campaign, "You are not alone. Share your feelings and problem with us as an expert." So students can share what they feel to the counselors. And of course, to make everything more live and so many activity even in the house, so we have a program like online dancing class. You see, I've never even think there is a dance class online. And then also there is stand-up comedy, and as well public speaking class, and of course there's a lot of other things that are very interesting for students to learn. And also for LSPR, for the school, this time, this pandemic time, when everything slowed down, and it's the time for us to recharge. So that's why we give a lot of training to our staff. And of course, in order to make us still stay connected between the school, the student, the staff, so we prepare a creative content that is entertaining to them and also informative, so they can hear the news or new things or some changing in this class schedule or any announcement. And we also can have some also story or articles or anything that we can share about humanity, and of course about a healthy conscience about what to eat in the house and what not to eat, and what to do and not to do. And of course we give the educative sessions to students and to make them also learn at all time. And of course we prepare now for the post-pandemic or for now. So we already begin to open, although the face-to-face in the classroom are not yet allowed, but the school is already open now. Then we have the very strict protocol by checking the temperature, body temperature of the visitor and the staff and the lecturers who coming to the campus. And we make the spaces in the cafeteria, in the library, in the lounge, so we're not near to each other. And we provide also a wastafel where people can do wash their hand and also sanitize their hands before entering the campus. We also have a research and survey to the student about what they feel about this online session. Most of them say okay, but not for a long time. And of course, in this time, there's a lot of challenges that we are facing that we have to overcome. Number one is the health issue or the crisis around the world that create a financial crisis that is affected many people, including the parent of the students. And of course, because everybody now into internet, sometimes we have also internet problems when we delivering the sessions or when we do the publishings, the marking, report, and many things also. And also we have challenges that in order to teach students not to do plagiarisms or as a lot of things that actually they like to make it easier. And of course we have to make our staff become digital friendly, and actually technology is not so difficult nowadays and it's not expensive. And of course family problems, cabin fever, that's some things that we often heard from the student and also the staff, because they live in a small place and everybody share the same place and has to survive. And here are the key points for university to survive during this pandemic. Number one is we have to have a strong internal communication, because we are apart. We are in our house and we are not in one room like we used to be. So we have to have a very strong internal communication. And we can use social media and website that we have to update it from time to time. So this become a media, and this is where we can have the source of information for each other. And we have to have a fast response and being agile to all the requests or to all the inquiry. And of course, we have to do implementing the tactical step in preserve our business value, including operational scenario plannings, what to do and what happened, and also planning in the future. And good technology is a must with this online learning during this pandemic. So university or school must have a good IT infrastructures. Number two, and also have web portal online classes and train staff and lecturers to become digital savvy. And online services must be available if it's possible 24/7, and then collaborations with the telecommunications or provider in order for student, lectures, and staff to get a special price for the internet quota. And of course, key point also to help the students happy and a healthy mental health. First must be support by the family and the school, how they study, how to overcome all these challenges being in the house for 24/7 for the whole, almost 1 year now. And also we have to create a good and fun work study environment at home, no matter how small is the house or the space, but we have to make it comfortable, and also the mood and the study experience still become interesting. And doing fun things while at breaks, we can encourage students to sing, dancing in the house, and doing a little sport, even from your own chair, and watching films. There's a lot of drama now, Korean drama, or maybe you can see a film from Netflix and nothing, or playing games, and then spending quality times together. That is the beauty behind all of these things. We can stay at home with family, and it even make us even closer. I think this is all, and thank you very much, and hope you can find useful this presentation. Thank you, until we meet again. Bye.
Thank you very much, Ibu Prita. Before I open for a question and answer or sharing session, let me check the attendance of our speakers first. Pak Herbert, are you still monitoring? Pak Herbert, are you still monitoring?
Hello, Pak.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just checking my speakers.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Professor Marco, are you there?
Yeah, Pak, I'm here.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Ms. Marina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Okay. We're very much in time. There have been a few questions that I have received here. Allow me to read that. Okay, there's one question from Faidan. He's basically asking, when are we going back to offline class? Well, I can answer, Faidan, what the Ibu was saying, that is the decision for the government. We will comply. So we can't tell you that until the government says so. There's a question from Franciscus Bonahara Damanik. I think it's probably for Pak Herbert. What kind of systems are compatible with digital accelerations in this sector? Then after this pandemic is over, will this sector transform into a new that is different from before? I guess before you answer, Pak Herbert, I'm going to check if Francisco is online. I want to ask him, what does he mean by the system? In my understanding is that when we introduce an online system based on internet or ICT technology, do we have a convergence issue? Is that a valid question, Pak Herbert? Or you have any other opinion about these questions? Sorry for my ignorance. I just need to get clarity on the question. Pak Herbert, please.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of the system itself, if I can understand correctly, probably he's asking regarding what type of the platform or what type of the system is
Yes.
suitable for this
Yes.
industry, right?
Yes.
So if I may answer, actually there are a lot of system that is suitable for the industry. I mean for the education, but I, in a sense that there are a lot of tools or technologies in order to support these education sectors. First of all, the basic one is regarding the school management system, right? There's one of the system that also available today to support the school in order to, to do all the administration in the school better. On top from the school administration system, there are also the system we call it as a learning management system. So this learning management system is the platform for the teachers to deliver all the teachings to the students and vice versa. This learning management system, on top of it, we also need the contents, which is the books, the video tutorials, and assessment and etc. So all these kind of things actually are available out there. But beside all the system, there are also a lot of tools, let's say for the people or for the content creators to create the contents. How to create a good material, the presentation for the teachers, etc. So there are also tools over there. So I would say that there is no single system or single tools that can cover the whole industry, but there are a lot of tools that can synchronize together to form a very good and solid foundation for the schools to move on. The school management system, I believe that is important. However, through the current pandemic, the most important part is the learning management system for the people, for the teachers in order to be able to deliver all the contents to the students. We can see some of the so-called commonly used, like Google Classroom is commonly used by a lot of schools. The one that I just introduced, which is my second teacher, or the Jelajah Ilmu, is also one of the platform or the system that consists of learning management system, and it is very comprehensive because it's not only for the teachers and the students usage, but it's also for the principals of the schools in order to do the analysis of the classes, of the teachers, of the students, how they cope with the learning, etc. So the principal has the tools in order to do the analysis. And on top of it, the parents also can log in, and the parents also can know what is the progress of their children in terms of the learning objective. So this is a comprehensive platform. Inside of it, there's also the contents like ebooks, assessment, video tutorial, etc. So this is also one of the system that is currently available through my site, which is through Excel. Then the second question is regarding whether this industry after the pandemic will be still the same or will be changed. I would say that in terms of the industry, after the pandemic, it will even become better because of the innovation that has been done through this pandemic. So I would say the way doing the learning and teaching will be a bit different, but it will be more effective because it will cater to the individual needs of the students by using those type of the technologies available. That's my feedbacks. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're saying it's the entire ecosystem, if you will, because the key word is omni. So whatever we do is going to be omnious. The system, the campus, the students, the parents have to be in that ecosystem. And after this transformation is through, some track of digitalization or online learning will remain, and in fact maybe improve the learning. So students have more time or luxury to decide whether they want to go to school partly or take it from home or elsewhere. After all, we don't know how long this pandemic will last. Thank you, Pak Herbert. I'll come back to you again because there are some questions that might relate to you. The next question is for Ms. Marina. It's from Odin, Jakarta. you come from a big country, which was once called Soviet Union, and you are also undertaking international collaboration, working together with universities or higher learning institutions in Europe and in Russia and its former countries. What is your takeout or that you can share with us on how your institution recruit international students and international lecturers from overseas inbound to your universities and from universities to overseas? Can you share with us your experience? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for the question. So regarding the recruitment of the students, we have the digital system of the communication. So we measure all our actions. So we are using the CRM platform in our consultancy center for education center. It's open 24 hours a day. So we give the different recommendation for the students. We create the digital platforms for how to choose the best program which is used to the student, not based only on the knowledges and their scores which they can receive in the tests, but also in that what is closer to them. So if the person wanted to study in economics, sometimes he's not right, because to study in economics in our university, it's very hard. And we are trying to explain to him that he needs to focus on any other faculties or programs and so on. So, and of course, we have the joint programs with our partner universities, and we are trying to attract the universities and to receive the effectiveness of our collaboration with them. Also, we are launching, for example, such kind of digital projects as HSC Business Talk to discuss with potential clients, potential students, the very interesting topics. So we are launching, as I said also during my presentation, the class experience tours, so different instruments in digital, which can attract the potential students and also the professors to join our universities. So if to talk about the professional or professors recruitment, I'm not working with this area.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Marina.
And the main idea that we are building the personal content for everyone and personal support. That's the main idea of our recruitment.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing your experience. Now, dear Professor Marco Polo, you've got many students, fans here in Zoom today. Could you share how you teach and guide your students to differentiate and even counter misinformations and fake news in your class lessons? Thank you, from Chuan in Malaysia.
Thank you, Pak. I actually responded already in the chat box to the question, but if I may just emphasize that media and information literacy is a shared responsibility. And indeed, for us in the education sector, we must amplify and we must really help those who are vulnerable to disinformation, to false news, to hoax information, to be able to bring them to the light, essentially, so that they do not fall into the trappings of disinformation and the information disorder. So apart from what I shared earlier of the 5 key principles of media and information literacy, I also try to share resources that are verified, that are accurate, that are credible to friends, even family members, because actually the fight for this infodemic starts at home. You may have a family member who is not news literate or is not too exposed to credible information and may just fall for disinformation. That's why we need to also help educate even those in our own households and in our own immediate circles. Only then can we really stop the spread of the infodemic. Thank you, Pak.
Okay,
Terima kasih.
thank you. Terima kasih kembali, Pak. There's also one related questions perhaps to you also, Prof. There's someone from Kylie, yeah? I think she's saying like, you know, if we try to advise our colleagues or our friends that, you know, you have to do all this, what you may say that in your slide, your checking list, you know, check first and all that. There's an acronym you mentioned that. And if these students or this person face someone who is so fanatics, you know, about getting information from his own source, and they just simply believe that, you know, and take it, you know, and engulf it, you know. What this is something that often puts us in a difficult, especially when you want to maintain relationship with your peers, and when it seems like you don't believe me, eh? It's not that issue. So how do you psychologically address that at the same time also slowly maintain the relationship so that you don't hurt your friends, you know? This is delicate.
Yeah, I agree, Pak. Especially now, we are in a way in a virtual space. One of the things I will not do is I will not publicly correct the person. I will do it in private. No, I will message the person privately, because if you try to correct the person, maybe he or she posted something in a public page or in a group chat, that will be very embarrassing, and at the same time, it may lead to misunderstanding. So I try to message the person privately. I've done that even to my family members and even to colleagues also, to do it in private, not in public. We can agree to disagree, but at the same time, we have to find common ground. And at the same time, you really just have to use our PR skills to persuade them, to convince them. No, the many posts that we know of use facts, use evidence, use testimonies, use verified information to be able to really persuade people. One of the biggest issues now is there are many people who are against vaccination, and because they believe many conspiracy theories. So even Bill Gates gets into the picture that he helped create all of this scenario and fiasco. So we really need to really educate, but be patient, because it is not easy to change people's minds, especially if they have this confirmation biases already. Some of them have gone very deep into the rabbit hole, or they have tunnel vision already. So it's really a challenge for us to try to address such, but we must not give up. One person at a time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. There's a question from any of the panel. I just want to ask if any of the panel on what advice the panel can give to students in adapting the changes brought by the next normal. I'm not saying, is the next normal normal? You will answer that later, ladies and gentlemen. And how they can maintain and manage an engagement on their online class. I would like perhaps Ms. Marina perhaps can address this before I give it to Professor Marco, and perhaps Pa Herbert can comment too. Please, Ms. Marina.
Dear students, I would like to tell you that you need to receive all information which you have it online, and you need to find out the best solution for you. It doesn't matter how you receive information, online, offline. Do the best, understand everything, and try to create the best projects you can, also from online formats of education. And I expect that in the nearest future, you will be in your classes, you will have the communications in a person, and you will miss the time when you were studying online. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to top it up, Professor Marco?
Just a quick note, probably the best diet is a balanced diet. So you should have a balanced media diet, a balanced digital lifestyle diet as well. Anything in excess is bad. So try to consume everything in moderation. Take breaks, go out and practice, of course, social distancing and observe health protocols, but don't just live in a digital space because we are analog, we are humans.
Yes.
So we need to really still remain human.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Less is more. This is a questions for perhaps for me from London School, because Ibu is also available. But the question is like this: dear moderator and Pak Herbert, there are academic debates arguing that public relations studies or programs should be placed under Faculty of Business or within business program so that public relations graduates can more effectively embrace the vitality of business competencies in these industries. What are your views on this from Chuan, Malaysia? Ibu Prita just presented to you, Chuan, that London School since I think last year, it was until then, it was 27th or 28th year of its existence, was called the London School of Public Relations. Now, we have just adopted exactly what you advised. We are now called LSPR, Communication and Business Institute, because we can't just be a honey all the time. We have to make money, right? So it's important. Business is key. One side we manage the business equity, which is money, which is monetization. The other side is managing brand equity, which is the reputation of the institutions. So that's the part why London School had transformed from just a simply PR school. Now it's an institute that also accommodate business in a wider perspective. So I wouldn't be surprised that one day this campus will teach accounting, finance, marketing and all that. And in fact, we have done that. As a matter of fact, we have some specific faculty that address businesses like hospitality, tourism, MICE, and all that. So thank you for the advice. I think Pa Herbert can also add on to this because his business also accommodate business and education. Basically, at the end of the day, is both. It's the reputational equity of his institute and this business equity, which is the revenue or the balance sheet, assets and all that, which we all know. Maybe Pa Herbert can address more in a wider business perspective. After all, he's the CEO of top companies here. Pa Herbert, please.
Yeah, thank you, Pa. I fully agree with you, Pa. At the end of the day, when we are talking about all the so-called businesses that we are doing, including schools, schools is also at one time is talking about the business as well. So the PR person, especially when they would like to come forward to represent the company and to talk to the press, etc., in order to build the company image, they also need the business knowledge. What is the business are doing, etc. So it is very good if they can have this business experience. I don't have the expertise to say whether it should be in the what do you call it, the department of a business in one of the university, but what I can say as a practitioner, even though they are the PR person, but the PR person also need the business knowledge and business experience in order for them to be able to represent the company well. So that's my comment, but thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I had a problem with my earset because I think the battery is running out.
If I may just add
Thank you very
short
much
reply.
Let me ask the next questions. Let me read you the next question. Sorry. This is from Nadia, one of our students at LSPR Communication Business Institute. I want to ask you to Professor Marco, sorry, Nadias, sorry. Professor Marco, I want to ask you about what if there's someone already told me this, sorry. This is the lady who was having problem with convincing her friends or her colleagues that the information that her colleagues or her friends passed on to her was a fake or disinformation. And you were right by saying, go into private message, yeah? So our business in public relation is to defeat with argument, not to humiliate, you know? So we don't want to humiliate anyone, especially not in the public. Thank you. Okay, to all the speakers today, any one of you, I'll give you I'll give you the turn to answer. When schools open and allow face-to-face classes again, will there be an option to integrate flexible online classes for those who will choose not to go to school, physically that is, given that we are already adjusting or perhaps getting more comfortable well to the online format of learning? I guess I'd like to give it first to Ms. Marina. What kind of policy is your university going to publish on this issue? On one side, students are already getting hang to being taught through online, but the opportunity to go face-to-face is also there. Is there a hybrid situation that is being planned by your university? After this, I'll go to Professor Marco. Ms. Marina? Ms. Marina, are you there? Okay, I'll come back to you later. Professor Marco, please.
Yeah, thank you. 11 years ago, my university actually adopted already the online distance learning modality, where we allow faculty members and our students to, in a way, attend virtual classes apart from the face-to-face classes. We started with a flipped classroom. And even right now, before the pandemic, shortly before the pandemic, our university has already offered both the in-person and the online distance learning mode. So I think this will just continue. It's just so that more students will probably choose the online modality, especially if the situation warrants it for them. And even our own faculty members, there are those who will become purely online teachers who will teach online, but there are those who will teach in a hybrid setup. This will be actually a decision made both by the schools offering their programs and the parents and the students. It will be a market decision, I think. So the schools that are ready to welcome both students in the in-person, in the virtual, and in the hybrid models, I think will benefit from the next normal versus those who will try to stick to an old model. So that to me, I think will be the direction that's going to happen.
Thank you. Sorry again, I have my problem with my earring set. I guess it's also age, perhaps.
No.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all your sharing with us and, monitoring this session until the end. And a particular great appreciations to all three speakers. And Ibu Prita also, of course, she's been very happy to host all these 3 consecutive webinars in the past every Friday of the week in this month. And now this is the conference, which is the pinnacle of our educational and training month of April, of which Ibu Prita has had the privilege to host it as a Pacific Regional Council for GA, and of course as the president of ASEAN Public Relations Network. Thank you, and for giving me also the opportunity to share, to moderate the session. And again, of course, mistakes do happen, but it's unintentional, and it's Ramadan, and forgiveness is on top of the list before we do anything else, because forgive is the things that gets us further, thank as a PR professionals, and I also thank you again for Pa Herbert for his extensive business and educational knowledge that you share with us. Professor Marco, you apparently you had a lot of fans, you know, and I guess it's almost like you say in your country, your brand, it's more fun in the Philippines, right? So who do not have friends when you all know how to have fun? You know, we should learn from you. We don't talk about pandemic anymore. We talk about fun. And
Well,
another
my
fun,
other
of
job
course,
is Pak, my other job is fundraising, and I believe
Yeah.
that fundraising is friend raising.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Ms. Marina, if you're not around, and thank you, Agua, because Ms. Marina already shared with us, the organizer, that she might leave if the timing doesn't allow her to stay. So on behalf of all of us here, before the closing remarks handed into Ibu Prita, again, thank you very much. I hope to see you soon. Candy, the screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pa Ermil. Thank you so much to all our honorable guest speakers. This is really a very insightful and very intellectual discussion we have this afternoon. We hope that the web conference today has enriched and enlightened our knowledge, especially about education sector. As we all know that education in pandemic or non-pandemic is the only thing that we can have and no one can take away from us. To all the participants, please kindly check the chat box for the information on how to get the e-certificates for today's web conference. And for those who ask questions to our speakers, we'll be announcing the winners of the APRN merchandise at our ASEAN PR Network Instagram account. Please follow us and subscribe to our Instagram account. And of course, before we end the event today, as I mentioned earlier, today marks the highlight and closing ceremony of the month-long Global Alliance Education and Training Month 2021. Thus, I would like to announce once again and invite Ibu Prita Kemalgani, MBA, MCIPR, APR, to give her closing statement and to wrap up the month-long Global Alliance Education Training Month 2021.
Hi, I'm Prita Kemalgani. Today, April 30, 2021, marked another milestone for GA Educations and Training Month. As we end this month, we would like to thank the support of all our global member associations and partners. And we have received overwhelming support from various speakers globally, from ASEAN, UK, Brazil, Spain, USA, Kenya, UAE, New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, China, Belgium, and we have covered so many interesting and wider topics like autism educations, PR, crisis, hospitality, business and financial, and also education and technology, media, and public relations entrepreneur. Again, from the whole Global Alliance and ASEAN Public Relations Network, we would like to express our gratitude to all of you for coming together, for your cooperations and support, which enable us to conduct highly this year Global Educations and Training Month 2021. It is our hope that the learnings gained from this month alone will be very useful for our future in achieving our common objective. This is me, Prita Kemalgani, Chair of the 2021 Global Education and Training Month, signing off with a big smile and gratitude to everyone. Go global, be global. See you.
Wow, congratulations APRN, congratulations Global Alliance. Thank you so much Ibu Prita for that closing statement and for our very special fireworks for our closing ceremony for today's Global Education and Training Month closing ceremony. And we hope Global Alliance and APRN will continue to provide a free global education program to improve global standard across education, training, and ethics in 2022. So please watch out for that. As Global Alliance always say, think global, act global, and be global. And finally, before we end the event today, of course, we will not close this session without our photo shoot. Okay, this is for our documentation. I would like to request everyone, please try to open your camera, and our team here will be taking shots of our picture, please. And give us your big smile. And again, thank you so much for all the support that you've given to Global Alliance for the whole month of April. You stay tuned with us every day with so many videos that we have. So please open the video and let's have our photo session. Okay, one. Okay, first slide we have. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile, everyone. Next slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Another slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. And then next, smile. And then last two slides. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, we got it. Okay. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Pa Ermil. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
For those who missed the videos of all our webinars, please try to visit our website at APRN or Global Alliance, and you will access it still for free. It's all available free to everyone. So please try to get that links available to you. And again, this has been Candy Hernandez signing off for today's webinar and closing ceremony. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Pa Ermil. Thank you so much to all participants.
Bye-bye.
And to all our honorable guests. Bye, everyone. Thank you.